Hi Cheez-Its, welcome back to another video, and today I'm doing something pretty different here, but instead of gaming, I am doing some commentary stuff. So, I recently was super bored and looking at YouTube, and I found this random dude's video about choosing, like a couple of random animes from a generator, and I was just like, wow, that's a pretty cool idea. I watched these anime either like a couple of weeks ago, but still randomized, and only came up with the idea now because I was just like, wow, wait, actually I should do that. Because I've been randomly trying to find the most obscure random anime possible to watch from generators, and seeing if they're any good. So I was like, might as well. And the first show that I stumbled across was something called Chronos Ruler. Now this show starts out by telling us, hey, did you hear? You can turn back time by going to this clock tower at midnight. Look at our teacher, she's gotten younger because of it. Yeah, oh my god, whoa, it's so real. And this girl who is a dead brother, literally because of her being so stupid and not looking both ways before crossing the street, decides, yeah, I'm gonna do this because I want my brother back, which I didn't totally kill him. And this is where we meet the main, like the real main characters, because that random woman, irrelevant. Now, our main characters are named Kiri and Victor, who have the last name of Putin. I just wanted to throw that out there because, like, I noticed it. Putin, oh my god. Anyways, so they tell this random girl, hey, if you go to the clock tower at midnight, you're gonna regret it. But of course she still goes because her brother's dead and she doesn't want him to be because she loves her brother. Still your fault, lady. And the clock strikes midnight. We see something emerging from the shadows, this big monster with clocks on them for some reason. And because time, And all it asks is for you to just grab its hand and it'll revert time, right? Nope, it bites you instead, and although it does revert time, in doing so, it takes your own, and you literally fade out of existence. Which is what happened to that quote-unquote youthful teacher. And then Victor and Kiri save this rando because it's their duty as Chronos rulers. People who have these orbs of time and can kill these monsters with them, I guess. That makes sense. And for some reason, they also have like random elemental powers affiliated with it because why not? And well, I guess everyone has some elemental stuff except for Victor. He's like some random magician who just only uses cards, I guess. And also a weirdo we meet later on that like schoolgirl outfits.
Uniforms were taken hostage, so trust me, no one's more upset than I am!
So they beat up that random horror log, which is what these things are named, by the way. And we learn that Victor, the guy who literally looks younger than Kiri, is actually his father. Yeah, I don't know, he got bitten by a horror log several years ago. And I guess the only reason why he's alive is because he has the original orb where it stops the flow of time, but it's broken, and whenever he uses it to speed up certain actions, like him throwing up cards, I said throwing up, whatever, it works. He takes some of his own time away, so like he becomes younger and younger if he tries to speed up time, because he's speeding up, yeah. And his goal is to defeat the original horror log that bit him and made him, so he can actually age again properly. But the show actually has some decent effects, and the fights are pretty enjoyable, though I'm surprised more people have not watched this show. But I mean, there's a lot of anime like that, so I mean, what can I really say? Also, that random girl kinda just disappears and is never to be seen again, so I guess she just has to live with the grief knowing she can never see her brother again no matter how much she tries, and this whole entire thing was futile, but that's obviously fine, right? Because who cares about this random girl? Yeah, okay. Anywho, Victor gets hunted down by the Chronos Ruler organization, which he thought was trying to kill him and Kiri, but they actually just wanted to see if he was worthy for that original orb thing he just, like, kept on him. So I'd also like to add that one of the people leading him to his lair is literally his wife, but they both forgot about each other because of the reverse aging and they lose memories. But I guess she just exists now. My only question though is how in the world would Kiri, his son, not remember what his mom looked like? Because his dad lost his memories, not him. It just really bothered me. I don't know why. This is also where he meets the weirdo who likes schoolgirl outfits. And for some reason Victor knows a thing or two about them as well. Ah, what a great bond they have.
Look, if you want their uniforms, all you have to do is ask. I can probably arrange something like that.
Yes, sir, please!
Why is this a thing? Kiri's now fighting this random fire guy who is just honestly amazing. He literally acts like he's got some tragic backstory. He wants to be a supervillain, but is just some nice dude who doesn't exactly seem threatening, but fire versus water, yeah. Kind of forgot who even won for some reason, but they became besties. Oh, little buddies later, and it's all good. But now Victor has to fight this god to show he's worthy to have this orb thing, and we get to see how smart he is, but they never really referred to too much in the show, except for like this one scene. But you would honestly not imagine him to outmaneuver a literal god with playing cards. Like, this scene was so amazing, they literally played it all over again in the next episode. Like, the entire scene. I was just like, did it re-skip this? Oh no, it's just the next episode, but they really like this scene. And, you know, of course he ends up defeating the god lady because, you know, you saw that card maneuver. And sets out on a journey with his apparent wife, Mina, and the random fire dude who is conveniently named Blaze. Very original name right there. And they travel to his hometown, which, oh no, time has turned backwards to when his parents were alive, because did I forget to mention? Oh yeah, his parents died when he was 10 years old, and that's why he called a horror log to revert time, got bitten, and yada yada, stuff happened. In this town, he has to like confront his trauma of his dead parents.
Trust me, this is a horrible idea.
We need some answers, right? What better place to start our investigation than over a meal with my dead parents? Come on, we'll be fine.
And you see how much of an absolute brat he was as a child, like,
Here, Victor. It's a special treat. I made it just for you. No thanks. I'll catch your stupidity.
like, how are you gonna say this stuff to your parents and get away with it? Just because you're smart doesn't mean, like, back in my day, we didn't have these entitled children because we beat them. Jeez. And despite saving his mother in this timeline from a literal heart attack, turns out this was an experiment to see what he would do by that original Horlog who has taken so many years from people that he can now transform into a human being. We don't question anime logic, you know. If there's already these things that can steal time, why not at this point? At the end, there's this really long fight while Victor goes solo trying to beat that crazy Horlog on his own. Which is a big mistake because he almost dies and figures out, wait, I shouldn't be doing this by myself, I will never win, blah blah blah, more fighting stuff, which you should watch if you want to understand because I am not explaining all of that. And the Horlog, it's just had enough. He decides to go Super Saiyan and kill Victor once and for all, which, you know what he says to that? He'll fly himself up there, and he loses his time trying to get close to that Horlog, but screw that, you know? He takes it down and all is well, right? No, actually he dies and everyone is extremely sad, and that's all. Of course he's gotta have this insane plot armor and literally revives himself back into existence. This dude was literally a pile of clothes a second ago. And it ends with the Horlog still apparently being alive somewhere, and I guess we'll get him next time. Now, my thoughts on this anime were that, yeah, it's pretty decent, I like the effects, and the animation style changes from time to time during the fight scenes, it makes it pretty cool. But also there's a lot of things that bug me with this, like for one, the horror logs were being controlled and used by this criminal organization this whole time. And that's why they specifically target Victor, because he's like some strong dude. But they never once mentioned who or why some random guy started this organization, or why they were able to control those things. Like, they just had some magical ring that allows them to do this, and it doesn't make like any sense. I don't know, maybe something happened in the manga. But literally, I don't know. We circle back to Kiri, and Kiri just, it annoys me. Like, how do you forget your mom's face? It's like, he was probably in his early teens when, I don't know, his mom disappeared and like his dad got bitten, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. Despite him being also very strange and sort of a womanizer in the beginning, but there's also this horrifying scene where he just wakes up naked in the same room as his son. It's just so weird and unnecessary.
This is your homeland.
Say that again, and I'll be cutting ties with it.
He'll eat pasta through his nose.
Like hell I will!
Next thing I want to talk about is a show called Juni Taisen Zodiac War, and this is one I definitely had mixed opinions about. We start off by getting a backstory of once again who we think is going to be the main character, but then dies by like the second episode. Amazing. And the whole premise of this show, though, is basically a war between different families or countries for the chance to receive any one wish granted to the warrior that survives. These families are also based around zodiac signs, which is why it's called the Zodiac War. And I guess also why it's once every 12 years, because 12 signs. So we start out with the boar, and this woman literally made her sister go insane on a murder spree so that she could get chosen. Honestly, an amazing start. Gotta love that familial bond. And speaking of familial bond, there are these two twins who entered together, who are extremely greedy. But already, before it's even started, we find one of them with their head chopped off and on the floor. Which the other brother is just completely unfazed. A normal reaction, of course. So who killed this not-so-beloved brother? Well, that would be, none other than Usagi, the psychotic rabbit killer, which is the only one I actually remember by name for some reason. Also, we don't know why his clothes ended up like that. He was literally shown in a regular tuxedo when he arrived. Now, thing about Usagi is that he is a necromancist. Necromancist, yeah. Not necromancer, as he specifically made that apparent in the beginning.
You're a necromancer?
Technically necromancer.
Also, I would like to note that this guy is extremely crazy, and just straight up kills everyone to become his dead puppets. So why does he have the most favorites in the My Anime character list? Anyways, this whole thing starts by having the participants swallow this black jewel, which is a poison that takes 12 hours to be fully digested and kill you. Once that's been explained, some people try and have a peace treaty and end things peacefully, yada yada yada, which of course doesn't end well because it's a battle royale. Who in the right mind would agree to? After that whole peace treaty thing though, the floor collapses, leaving Usagi the perfect chance to kill the boar and immediately create another puppet. Now from here on we get to see the different perspectives of the characters and their backstories one by one, and also see which characters end up dying, and how. But there was a serious problem with the story's pacing though. In the beginning, I thought everything was going great, and I was honestly hooked. But as more and more time passes, you start to see a pattern. Literally, it has a backstory of the character, and then later on they're killed, either in that episode or the next. And it's incredibly obvious once you watch like the first couple of episodes. They were way longer than the actual fights and interesting stuff. Although, okay, her death scene was pretty sad since like Tiger has met Ox before the Junie Tyson, thinking that he didn't remember her, but actually they were both pretty influenced by each other, and she died without telling him the truth, which is kind of infuriating because she literally got asked by the Ox if they'd met before and she said no. Also, it's important to mention that there were a few like really powerful people such as Monkey, Ox, and obviously Usagi. God, oh my god, who are being rooted by the organization running the events so they can place bets. And why does this remind me of Squid Game? Now, with the first two deaths done, we shift focus onto the dog and chicken, who decide to team up with each other. Now, the dog's only doing this because he thinks he could kill her whenever, because she's super weak looking. I mean, it makes sense, because this dude's bites literally have any type of poison he wants to inject into them, which obviously makes sense for a dog. I don't know, but maybe it's like glorified rabies at this point, I'm not sure. But the dog bites the chicken to give her this type of poison, or more like some sort of drug, I guess, to give her a boost of strength. And then the chicken double crosses him and smashes his head into the wall with the strength she just got. Good god. She then goes out and finds Monkey and Rat, but decides not to kill them because this drug is messing with her sense of justice or something. And actually causes her to be killed by Ox because that dude is super strong and didn't even break a sweat when she approached him trying to project the other two. Now, after this we see Ox and Horse having a fight, and somehow the horse made it out of there alive, decides to go into hiding. But this man, that was not the right idea, because that was his ticket to leading himself into an oven. While he was lying low, the corpse of Snake went into the building and just used a flamethrower to burn the whole place down. And I guess who decided to barricade themselves to the point where they can't get out? Sure gotta love overcooked horse meat. Why did I write this? We see this old man sheep and a drunk tiger meeting each other. Now, like, literally, she gets her combat skills by being drunk. I just gotta wonder how her liver is still functioning, honestly. But the sheep underestimates her, because he's got way more experience and a ton of bombs strapped to himself, so obviously he'd be fine. Well, no, the drunk went into some tiger stance and just killed him immediately. But here comes the crazy part. Our psychotic killer bunny is trying to take out the big guys first, so he's absolutely unstoppable, which, you know, makes sense, and he ends up doing it. But this man literally killed so many people, it is actually unbelievable. Like, he killed Snake, Boar, Monkey, Horse, Dragon, basically also Tiger, and even himself! But to be fair, I mean, he did come back as the undead, but he literally killed himself. And then he decided to kill Ox. Though, I guess the winner of the Junie Tyson actually managed to take down the Ox and Rabbit out, but that's only because Monkey was holding Ox down while the rabbit regenerated, since, you know, wanted to make another puppet. And then after the winner exploded them with a leftover bomb from the sheep. Now, you may be wondering, Cheesy, who in the world killed the rabbit then? Well, it was none other than the rat, who seems like he was trying to lay low, but actually has his ability to go into 100 possible outcomes and change the reality into, you know, whatever outcome he thought would work the best or choose. After literally dying 99 times, he was able to find a path that would keep him alive. This one turns out, it turns out that he actually had no wish to begin with. It just leads us to the last episode, seeing what is he wants, and by looking into what the others wanted, and we get to see how everyone else, you know, their perspectives were, what they would have wished for, and
私は歴史ある名家の淑女として35億人のイケメンと愛し愛され暮らすのです。
and we get to see what everyone would have wanted to wish for. Tiger's being the only one actually done, since she wanted to have a battle with Ox, and he sort of dealt the last blow, but she was already like seriously injured. I don't really know if that counted, but I suppose so. But how in the world does the rabbit have such a wholesome wish? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like,
僕の願い? ああ、僕の願いはね、世界中のみんなとお友達になりたいんだ。
and I'm not sure if it was like he was super lonely or he meant like dead friends, but geez, man, how are you gonna kill everyone with a motive like that? It just doesn't make any sense. The rat's wish in the end was to forget everything that's just happened, and all the grueling deaths and painful experiences he had to go through, and it kind of just gives you like a really satisfied ending. Like, he's just satisfied with the life he has now that he's forgotten everything. It's actually quite nice. That leaves us with the end of the show. Was it satisfying? I mean, the ending wasn't all that bad, though I wasn't expecting the rat to win out of all people. I think it was great that he was actually able to find that peace of mind, even if his environment didn't really change all that much, but this anime was definitely far from perfect. I understand that at the end is really when those backstories kind of come together, and it makes sense why they chose that wish because of it. But it definitely should have been shortened. Like,
if you have a show with war in the title, your first thought isn't exactly that it's going to emphasize so much on the characters rather than strategy, abilities, and action. Though I'm not completely hating on it, I mean, since when it jumped back to the present time, it was pretty entertaining. And the pacing was semi-decent, once again, when referring to the present time. But we seriously don't need some extended backstory for the story to be good. I mean...
well, what I'll tell you guys is that it's definitely an interesting watch, though if you're gonna see it yourself, I do suggest skipping a few things here and there if you get really bored easily. Though I have really just spoiled the entire thing. This whole video is just a spoiler. Thanks guys for watching this extremely drawn out video. Basically, I'll be just summarizing stuff and giving opinions. But let me know if I should do something like this again, because I was able to get at least some decent shows. Just like, I'm surprised at least they were semi-decent from what I've scrolled or like randomized. But hey, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!